That's right. Okay, so we're recording. You know, my biggest fear is that we do the show and then I realize I forgot to hit the record button.
Oh, yeah. Did
Think
you
about
last
it,
time?
right? We do a whole
Did you last time?
show and then go, oh, sugar. And for those of you who are watching this is the pre-show entertainment to our Sunday morning show that actually just popped up on our
We have comedian Randy Rocky.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Rocky. So you want to hear how daring I am? I'm so tired of being caught up in not being able to travel. So Michelle and I, I'm telling this for our the video audience, are heading to St. Lucius in November.
Good for you. Good for you.
For like 5 days, meeting my brother and sister-in-law. So that'll be some fun.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
we're planning a cruise in May it starts in Barcelona, ends in Rome. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then another cruise with friends going to where are we going? We're going to France, Bordeaux. You know, it's a tour of cities around France, so that's cool. But here's my thinking. I'm thinking that I may want to do something in January down to the Southern Caribbean, not to Mexico side. So I'm wondering if any of our people want to go.
I want to go.
Well, I mean, and it wouldn't. Well, Randy, are you open to think? Are you thinking maybe our group goes? Like Chuck, I found out. Yeah.
I could possibly do it. Yeah, I'd be interested.
All right, I'm going to put out an email because it would be kind of fun, and you don't have to go for a high-end cabin, but like a mid-January sailing from Miami, going down for like 7 or some odd days on a decent cruise line just to get away from here. You know?
I want to get away from here. I'd go to like, Paris, Kentucky to get away from here.
Randy, you're frozen, buddy. You're frozen. Just so you know.
I'm still frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen. We are promoting how great this was, and
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Now?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go with it.
Least,
are you back at your office? Are you out in your hallway?
Oh, yeah.
No, okay. All right.
No, I'm in my office.
Okay. It'll probably catch up, but let's. Oh, there you are. You're back. Okay. Let's do it. Here we go. Right. Stand by, folks. In 3, 2, 1. News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you for the next 30 minutes or so. And with us, and by the way, if you hear that computer in the background, I'm turning it off the email. We got a letter, a couple of a month or so ago from someone who said, I keep hearing that your computer ding. Would you stop that? I said, that person's right. So I've made every attempt to make sure that doesn't happen. So just understand, because we're doing this from each of our own, offices. And joining us this week, Randy Rocky from Swan Financial, 645-0736. And this is all via Zoom. So if it sounds a little funky, you know why. Hey, Randy, good morning to you.
Good morning. And Bob, I never like giving you credit, me being a friend of yours, but I've had more than one person in the last 2 weeks tell me you run such an informative show that moves along very quickly. And I'm just very honored to be part of this. Thank you.
And we're thrilled to have you. And also here, Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. You can reach Lee and her folks at 649-7964. I turned that off, and I swear to you, it was off. For some reason, I just heard it again, and I just muted it because I thought I turned it off. Sorry about that. And Lee, I was just over at Limestone this week for a closing, and of course your folks did a great job. Trevor, Mike, everybody's over there, so that's
wonderful.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I should tell you that my son Greg is on vacay again. He continues his vacation, and he'll be back next week, but he's enjoying. First week he went, it was raining, so he said, okay, I'm going to go another week. I said, okay. And I kid you not, I'm trying to turn off this audio, who knows? I don't know what's going on, but okay. Let's continue going. Let's start off with the show. Mortgage applications slowed as many rushed to beat the adverse market fee. I don't know about the market fee, but do you know anything about what the slowdown? Have you heard any of this, Randy, from your perspective?
The purchase side, the market fee is it's still going to be very advantageous for people to refinance. The market fee, which I think is crazy what they did here, Bob, it's an extra tax, and they're adding
who?
From the
taxing?
government, and
the government's
are
you kidding me?
No, so they're taxing on refinance loans when people are in the position they are right now. So if you have a $200,000 refinance, they're adding $1,000 a closing basically. So then your rate could go up an eighth or what have you, but it's $1,000 extra they're adding by the end of the year. And it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So any refinances, rate and term or cash out, now have $1,000 tax added on to them. So it's very sad, and I don't understand it. But anyways, that's why people are rushing in to get the refinance done. But even after that happens, there are still $8 trillion out of the $11 trillion in loan volume can be refinanced right now, and people could actually save money.
Even
$8 trillion, big
tax
number.
This
Yes,
this
and
is
then
the first time. Yeah, I've heard this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the purchase side is down 4% from this time last week.
Yeah,
So the actual applications.
I heard 4.8%, but 4% is close.
Well, yeah, 4.8. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, you are
Yeah.
correct. You are
Lee,
correct.
have you seen a slowdown on closings yet from your end? I don't think it's filtered down to the closing attorneys as of
Not
yet.
at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. We have not seen a slowdown at all the entire time. No.
Listen, we got a lot of stuff to go over, so I'm going to keep going through this. And I mean, there's just so much news. A couple of weeks ago, if you are a regular listener of the show, you had heard me talk about that there's going to be a lot of office space that's going to be available because all of us, because of COVID, are working from homes, right? So there's a concern that there are going to be offices that'll be empty and stores that'll be empty. You got Amazon taking up that. Well, a lot of the store frontage, right? They can do it via their delivery system. So this was an interesting story that I just read this week, that office retail space will get back to pre-COVID levels in 2025. It's going to take some 5 years to get back to where it is as with growing the economy. But additionally, and listen to this, that there's a creative approach to the apartment shortfall that we're experiencing around the country. You know, as baby boomers start downsizing, as the millennials and younger start buying homes, there's just not enough homes. We talked about the cost of building homes going up because of lumber rates going up. So there's a new approach now. Former factories, breweries, Air Force bases, even old churches are now being turned into multifamily buildings as developers target them as a viable solution to overcoming housing shortages. So I asked the two of you on this call today, would you move to a factory or a brewery or an Air Force base or any place else, even a hotel that's been converted into condos? They're doing that with also office buildings, schools, warehouses, healthcare buildings. All of these are potential retail space, are potential locations to reformat those buildings that are still usable in terms of space, but repurpose them as apartments or condos, possibly. What do you guys think?
Well,
I
you know,
Oh, go ahead, Randy.
and if you look at the Antique Mall across from on Goss Avenue, they repurposed that, and they did a great job.
They did a beautiful job. Yeah.
And you know, it's funny you mentioned that about the commercial side. You know, New York City, when will it ever recover? Downtown Louisville, you know, I think that it's I don't know how long it's going to take. I think 5 years is very aggressive.
You optimistic in this way, right?
Well, yes, very optimistic.
Yeah.
I think they could. I just don't think it. Me personally, I just don't think it's going to happen in 5 years.
Yeah, it may not, but I mean that was one research. Lee, how about you? Would
I
you
would
move
absolutely, if it was cool and it was new and it was, redone, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I'd move into a factory, a warehouse, anything. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
for
it's all
sure.
about our mindset. I mean, if
Right.
you're not cutting lawns, but maybe you're going to be in a downtown location, or you're going to be at a
Hmm.
great location to be able to go out shopping or enjoy
Yeah.
life. Maybe whatever it is. Maybe let's say it's an office building they build in a movie theater into that unit, that building.
Yeah.
In big cities, these high rises are just the norm rather than the exception.
Right. I'd love to have a one level like condo. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
with an elevator that takes you up if you're above the first floor. Oh, I get
Right.
it. By the way, if you want to see a replay of this show, we record these on Zoom and then we send them to YouTube. You can go there and get the pre-show banter and after-show party that we do. Go
Yeah.
to LouisvilleAnswers.com.
There's a lot of shrimp cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah, we all serve it. LouisvilleAnswers.com. And if you want to hear more about what people are saying about our Sokoler team, go to LouisvilleZillow.com to read about it, or LouisvilleSellersTalk.com to hear what folks have said. There are many who would accuse me of living, dreaming, sleeping, eating real estate. And many of you, my partners here on the radio show, I would suspect you do too. Am I correct? Yeah.
That's pretty much my life. Yes.
Well, a new report out says that real estate is popping up in more people's dreams. Vivid dreams are one of the many side effects of being tied to COVID-19. And reportedly, many of these quadra dreamers, as they're being called, are having dreams related to real estate, such as moving into a mansion or doing a home renovation project, or even feeling trapped in a cluttered space. I'm not sure I've had dreams. Have either of you two had to deal with dreams of real estate? Probably not.
No, I don't dream of real estate. I do it all day long, and then I go to sleep and think about something else.
That might be called a nightmare if you're starting to think about it at night. Right. I agree. Am I odd when I tell you that I don't remember my dreams? I know I dream because I can remember something, but I just don't remember.
No, you have to write them down to remember them.
Yeah. I got to write them down when I wake right up.
Right. When you wake up, you have to write them down immediately. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a concern, I'm sure. By the way,
get you a notebook and just put it by your bed and write
it down. I'll do that. Coming up in a few minutes, how COVID-19 lockdown is squeezing real estate. It could burst the housing and mortgage bubble. We'll be talking about that in just a couple of minutes. The cost of a home, far more important than the price. A lot of us have been talking about prices are going up, but interest rates have come down, even with the tax that Randy was talking about just a short time ago. And what's interesting, there's a chart that came out. And basically, last year, if you bought a home, and Randy and Lee jump on board here, last year you bought a home, let's say it cost $250,000. The interest rate was 3.73% on average. Your monthly mortgage payment, which is just including principal and interest, we're not talking taxes and insurance, just principal and interest, was $1,155 per month. Fast forward this year, now, because the interest rates are down, and this uses a calculation of 2.87%. So, Randy, I'm taking, this is still pretty, and I know you can't quote rates, Randy, but 2.87 is pretty much in the ballpark for interest rates, right?
That is correct. And I think that's one of the reasons you've seen prices go up, because people can't afford. What do you think, Bob? I think they can afford for the same payment more house from this time last year. Basically, you're a point difference.
Yes.
Well, last year.
Yeah. So you're about a point or a little bit more, a hair over a point. You can now afford, based on the same salary, instead of $250,000, your dollar will go further. You can now buy a home worth $263,750, and that actually drops your payment to $1,094. You're actually saving $61 a month by simply having waited a year and being able to buy a little bit more home or a nicer home in a different neighborhood. I think that works all the way around. What do you guys think?
I agree. So I think obviously you have the inventory shortage. You have rates basically a point lower from this time last year. And I think that's why we've seen, at the housing market in in the suburbs go up 6%, and in the rural areas go up 11%. It's been a great year for a housing market as far as the appraised value going up.
Yeah, as long as appraisers go along with it, of course, they're the ones who will keep an eye on everybody to make sure we don't overvalue a house. We understand that. So where are values going to go over the next 12 months? Anyone want to take a prediction on a thought about where it might be going? Lee, you want to jump off?
Well, I think value. Yeah. I think value is our basic econ 101. You know, it's what somebody's willing to pay, and that's supply and demand. You know, you might pay a little more now because buyers are out there and there's not a lot of supply.
Yeah. Randy, you're on board, I'm sure of that, because we all agree on this, on the same premise.
I agree. They're going to go up. Yes.
Yeah. So, of course, with shelter-in-place orders that were implemented in March of this year, many questioned what the shutdown would mean to the real estate market. Specifically, well, there was concern about home values. We were all concerned. After years of rising home prices, would 2020 be the year that appreciation trend would stop going up and we'd come to a screeching halt? So this is really important news. Original forecasts modeled the uncertainty, and then they ranged anywhere from homes gaining value 3%, that was according to Zelman Associates, to homes depreciating by more than 6%. That was CoreLogic's guess for this year. However, good news. As the year unfolded, it became clear that there would be little negative impact on the housing market. And I think we can all agree somewhere in March things slowed down because people were all coming to terms with this new norm of COVID in the news,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then it became clear that there would be little negative impact on the housing market. That, according to Mark Fleming, who's the chief economist at First American, and he's now saying the only major industry to display immunity to the economic impacts of the coronavirus is the housing market. And so they're expecting an increase continuing for homes to go up in value. In fact, projections, if you want to look at the most optimistic over the next 12 months, Zelman is saying there's a 5.9% increase in price. Zillow is estimating 4.8%. Fannie Mae is 4.4%. It goes down the line. CoreLogic has the least aggressive increase at 0.6%. So it's really all good news all across the board. What it comes down to is if you are ready to buy, now is the time to do it. Do not wait till next year because rates are still going to be low and you may have more people looking. And Randy, I talked from your office on the phone. I had a really great conversation. Is it Ann?
Yes, Ann Christensen.
Ann Christensen called me about a client, and she had some really good advice, and that is, if you are ready to go and buy a house, jump now. Don't wait for some pie in the sky, whatever it might be, because if that house is out there, go for it. And that's key. And I think we both of you on our show today agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I would buy right now. I would sell right now too.
Are you in the mood to sell? I know a good real estate agent.
Yeah, I know. But I have no deck on the back of my house, so I have to get a deck before I can sell.
Are you still dealing with the deck issue? No, wait.
All my deck people have COVID-19.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. Yeah.
And have you seen a rise in the price of the deck?
Oh yeah, 70% higher than it was, before. Yeah, the lumber is 70% higher. Yeah.
I talked to a really good builder this morning. In fact, he was hoping to join us on it, but he's really busy, so probably couldn't get on. We may have him on in the future. He says he's talking to suppliers, and they're thinking that the higher costs for lumber may level off and start coming down in the next couple of months. So that's going to be good news. So just hold on to your seats on that one. We're going to take a break. When we come back, how the COVID-19 lockdown could squeeze real estate or burst the bubble for both real estate and the mortgage bubble. Here on the air, in their own studios of their own homes or offices, we've got our friends Randy Rocky from Swan Financial, 645-0736. Also Lee Harris, legal consultant, Limestone Title and Escrow, at 649-7964. My son Greg's on vacation this week, and you can reach me because we're desperately continuing to look for homes to list and sell. And I think we do a pretty good job. We're hoping to do 300 plus homes this year. So that's a good thing. You can reach me at 376-5483. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS. Welcome back to the Louisville Real Estate Show. I'm Bob Sokoler. Thank you, Barbara Corcoran. And we love Barbara. She's a great mentor and a fabulous lady. With us on the air, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, 645-0736. Also, Lee Harris, legal counsel, and he's over at Swan Financial and does a great job, I should tell you. Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a great job at 649-7964, closing home loans. I was just there this past week where we closed one of our clients who was selling their home. Did a fabulous job. So the question there, folks, that's on the table, how will COVID-19 lockdown squeeze real estate? Could it burst the housing bubble? That's the big question. Sooner or later, homeowners in this frothy U.S. housing market may have to pay the piper. So the thinking is, by the end of 2020, several million borrowers who have received mortgage forbearance will have gone 9 months without making a mortgage payment. Look, even now, my phone is ringing, even though I've got it on airplane mode. It's just amazing. So the question comes down to all of you, do we believe that forbearance is going to be a major player in bringing prices down as folks unfortunately go into a foreclosure status and then they end up needing to sell or get rid of their home? Randy, let's start with you.
I don't think so. I just don't think that. I don't think there's going to be a big forbearance issue, and I don't think there's going to be a big foreclosure issue. So, me personally, I would say no.
All right, Lee, how about you from a legal standpoint? Are you hearing anything that you want to pass on?
No,
to?
I agree. I think that because of the pandemic, I just think there's going to be leniency for tenants and for owners as far as owing back money. I mean, it's nothing that any of us could have controlled. And I think that the powers that be are going to not send all these people to homelessness. I really don't.
According to HUD's July, of course, that's a couple of months old now, but their 2020 Neighborhood Watch report, 17% of 8 million insured mortgages are now delinquent. This percentage includes mortgages in forbearance as well as those not in forbearance. Hard-hit metropolitan areas include New York City, with a whopping 27.2% of the mortgages in trouble. Miami has 24.4%, Atlanta with 21%. So it's happening, maybe not as bad as it is around the rest of the country, but certainly here in the Louisville area, there are folks who are hurting. And it is a question of whomever gets into office or stays in office, what they're going to do to help those who have been hit hard, who are not able to make their mortgage payments, or landlords who have clients, their renters aren't able to make their mortgage payments. I think we have a real problem all the way around, don't we, on this thing?
Yes.
Any suggestions of how to help those folks? I know, Randy, you've been outspoken about don't just take forbearance for granted and don't do it if you don't have to. Any suggestions at this point?
Well, if you need to take it, then, the other side of that is if you need to take forbearance, obviously do that. And I agree with you. I think that I agree with Lee. I think they're going to work through this one way or another. Either the lender and we'll get some government help, or they will be in a forbearance situation and be able to work their way out of it. Now, New York City is a very isolated area, and I don't know what happens to downtown. What do you think, Bob? I mean, if you have a $2 million condo and there are 3,000 people leaving there negative a day, I mean, that could be a problem. Do you agree? That's where the problem could happen.
I completely agree. I think we're going to see spots of this pop up on a regular basis over the next couple of years, but I really think it's going to fall to the mortgage companies who know that by simply turning out someone who's had to face forbearance, sending them packing is not going to do them any good. I have a feeling that there's going to be some understanding, and then there's going to be a readjustment for these folks to keep them in the properties, because it's going to do the mortgage company ultimately more help than hurt if they've got people living in buildings or homes to continue to fix or keep them up. If you agree?
I agree.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not all negative news, because there is some really good positive that since a low point during the initial stages of the pandemic, the only major industry is the housing market that continues to do well. We're in a V-shaped. I heard on the debates this past week that Vice President Biden used a K-shape. Did anybody get an understanding of what the K return was? I couldn't get a hand around that, and I haven't heard any of that. But I think we're in the middle of a V-shape. If you watch the debates, boy, what was that all about? Huh? I won't get in that again. We're not politics. Something else we want to turn our attention to, and remember, if you want to see a replay of the show, LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect to our YouTube channel, LouisvilleAnswers.com. And you can always go to LouisvilleZillow.com if you want to see what people are saying about us, our Sokoler team. But if you're wondering why selling this fall may be the best time to sell, it'll give you a couple of reasons. Buyers are actively in the market now. We see that every day. There's not enough homes on the market to sell at this moment. So if you're thinking of selling, you're going to get more money, sell faster. The process is going quickly. And by that, have we seen any delays, Randy, on your end from getting mortgage applications into closing?
No, things are actually picking up, and people are adjusting to the loan volume. So it's getting better all the time.
And from your standpoint, Lee, for closings, have there been any hiccups in terms of slowing down?
No, not at all. I mean, we have been steady from March to now. So, yeah,
I will tell you, give you an update, just an example. So the closing we had at Limestone this week, I got word a day before the closing that this was a family that was selling an estate, and that there had been another sibling who had passed away. And so all of a sudden there was a concern that the sibling who had passed away, based on their will, may have left that sibling's money to a daughter or son. It sets up a really tough scenario, because you got to quickly verify that there's not an heir missing to the disbursement, which would also mean more signatures on all the documents, both listing, selling, and closing. And to Limestone's credit, this is where having people you can rely on comes into play. Limestone's staff picked up the ball, and within hours was able to verify that they had everybody they needed. It did not delay the closing. This is something that we've seen go the other way with some closing attorneys. That's why I'm glad we have Lee and Limestone on our side helping us.
Well, thank you.
Yep, I wanted you to know. And by the way, there are cookies that they serve at Limestone.
Yeah, they have good cookies. They have good cookies.
Yeah, in fact, I didn't eat any, mind you, just FYI. I said to both sides, I didn't, I'm trying to lose, buyers and sellers, I said, these are great cookies, and the buyer, not our client, but the buyer goes, I'll have one. And she enjoyed it, so that's good. There may never be a more important time to move. You spent much of the last 6 months in your current home. Perhaps now you realize it's too small. For goodness sakes, you need more space. And if you're working from home, like a lot of people, your children are doing virtual school for some reason, you'll need more space. And that may be the perfect time to think about selling. Yelly?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Bottom line, housing market is prime for sellers right now. So it's time to connect. If you're thinking about selling your home, you can reach me anytime on my cell phone. I mean, we got a lot of hundreds of thousands of realtors around the city who are great realtors. But if you want to reach me, I'd love to help you. 376-5483. All right, we're out of time, and it goes so fast. Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Lee's direct number, of course, is 649-7964. And then Randy Rocky, Swan Financial, who gets the job done, and even with barriers that the government puts in front of him, he is still getting it done. And you can reach him at 645-0736. And again, I wish my son Greg has a good vacation because I'm ready for him to come back. I've been doing some of the photography that he would normally have done because we still have listings that coming on board. And I have to tell you, I'm not so bad, but I think he does a much better job at what.
Come back, Greg.
Come on.
We miss him.
Yeah, we miss him. But don't tell him I said that, please.
No, we won't tell him a thing.
His head is big enough. Okay. All right, folks, we are out of time. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday right here on News Radio 840 WHAS.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Wait, we got to do the post-show party. Yay! Whatever that is.
Bob, I want to know who Michelle is. Who's Michelle?
Oh, you haven't met Michelle? We'll have to meet you. So, yeah, for those of you who are joining us on the video. So, the background, my wife, Noreen, passed away in 2016. I followed my doctor's orders of going out and dating quickly, which I did. A little too quick. Got married. Not so good. Got divorced. Okay. And now dating. And I owe it to the woman who does my hair, Lisa, who actually, with as little as I have left, has done a great job. But after I filed in a couple of months or so, she goes, there's a woman I know who is going through the same thing. You may want to talk to her, at least strike up a conversation. So I did. And Randy's met her. And we've gone out to dinner with Randy and Tracy several times. So,
oh, yes. Very nice lady.
Nice lady. So we'll see.
When do I get to meet?
When you're at it, whenever you're ready. Maybe we go on that cruise. This could be a lot of fun if we decide to all do it.
I'll be happy to go anywhere. We haven't had our summer vacation or our winter vacation or anything.
Yeah, I'm just thinking after the first of the year, we're going to be ready to get out. It's going to be almost a year since we were traveling. So
yeah, sure.
So, yeah. Well, we'll talk. I'll put an email out and see if anybody's got some interest. It'd be kind of fun to just.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of our party.
Okay.
Any shrimp cocktail? Anybody get it? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I love my shrimp cocktail.
It was good. You all take care of yourself.
You too.
See you next couple of days.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye, Randy. Bye, Bob.
Bye-bye.